Hello everyone, I'm back with another video, and in today's video we have a keyboard key replacement. Pretty much this is a mechanical Corsair. That's it. This is a Corsair model Corsair Gaming K95 RGB Platinum keyboard. All right, it's a pretty heavy keyboard. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna replace few keys in here. These are Cherry MX brand keys in there, mechanical, and brown one. So the browns are really medium. Let's say the black versions are really more tactical. The red ones are really soft. As soon as you touch them, it will just make a click. But this model is the brown one. You can replace these keys with whichever mechanical key you want. I'll leave the link in the video description. But we're going to replace them with the brown one. We're going to replace only a few of them, not all of them. So first, mark down how many keys you need. And so let me grab a pen and write down the keys that we're going to be removing from here. Let's see. We're going to remove WASD, and we're going to remove Alt, Control, and space, and Shift. So it's going to be Alt, Control, W, and space, and Shift. So we're going to replace these ones. We're not going to replace anything else. So these are the ones that actually they get used a lot because they play for gaming. But the clients like it's not working, so we're going to replace these ones. So I'm going to write it down, and there's a reason I have a big cardboard box here. I'll go in a second. All right. So for the switches, we order original Cherry brand, Cherry MX switches, and these are the brown one. MX brown, you can place whichever you want if you want to buy the whole set. In here, they only include with the 22 keys. So we have 22 keys. It will tell you right the difference: blue, brown, silver, red. They have a whole different bunch. They are compatible. So we're gonna replace these ones nicely. So we're gonna have this one to one side, and we're gonna get it started. So once we wrote down the keys that we're gonna be replacing, we need to remove all the keys in here. And so I have a cardboard box here. You can take a picture to see where all the keys go, or simply remove it, just pull it up. When you purchase the keyboard, they will give you a clip to pull them out. If not, pull them up straight and put them down on the cardboard box so you don't actually mistake them, or you can go online and look for the key locations, I mean. So I'm gonna pull these ones out, and I'm gonna do it quickly. So let me just pull them straight up, everything. So I'll probably fast forward this part. Now that we have removed all the keys, so let's put this one to one side. And we have no more keys in here. We're gonna get it started by removing the covers and the screws. There are two screws that you don't want to remove. I'm gonna circle those and I'm gonna explain. They are gonna be the screws that you're not gonna remove is the third screw. So 1, 2, 3. The third screw you're not gonna touch, and the fourth screw you're not gonna touch it. You're gonna leave them, and the rest is gonna be removed. So what are we gonna do? You're gonna grab a tweezer first, a curved straight tweezer. We are gonna remove this cover in here. So you want to put it in the corner here and lift it up. Bring it up. It's just gonna go flying. Let me see. There we go. So lift up this cover from here because there's a hidden screw right in there. Grab yourself the screwdriver. I'll be using iFix screwdriver set. So everything I use is going to be linked in the video description in case you want to purchase yours. So let's go ahead and remove the screws. These are going to be Phillips number 1. It's starting from the corner, one right by the escape or function key right there. Second one, third and fourth, we're going to skip. We're going to go on the fifth, sixth, seventh, 8, 9, corner. Do not miss any screw. I'm not going to skip this part so you guys can see exactly where I'm removing it. between the space, right in the space bar. There's one in there. All right, so there we go. Double check, make sure you haven't missed any screw. There we go. So we put the screw to one corner. Now what you need to do is to detach the bottom casing, housing. So it should come out pretty easy. So just remove it. You can just go ahead and flip it over and lift up the bottom case, bring it up. Maybe I missed one screw. No, I didn't. So there's no screw missing in here. So this one should come out pretty easy. There we go. Just a USB port was in the way. So once we remove it, there we have it. So this bottom case, you can go ahead and clean up. There's a little dirt in there. Now we can see all the switches and everything in here. The keys that we're gonna be removing are not one of the F1, F6 because these ones they usually never go bad because these are the less pressed keys. So any key under here, they are already exposed. The F1s are under here, so you have to remove this plastic, flex cables, everything in here to get access to the keys on function keys. I mean F1, F2, 12. But if you only want to do, they're all exposed. Everything else is exposed, so you don't need to remove the board in here. So what I want to remove, but it's just this cable is annoying, is on way, but I'm gonna do it without removing the cable, so you guys don't have to remove the cable. So we're gonna put it in this way. First, we're gonna use a marker to mark which keys we're gonna remove. So double check, make sure AWS which ones are. So it should be this one in here. So we're gonna remove this key, this key. These keys are gonna be removed. Space, obviously, Alt, Control, Shift. So let me see, where was my list? So we have, oh, let's go ahead again. Check it out. So we have AWAS. Oh, yeah, that one. So these ones, we got space, we got Alt, we got Control, we got Shift. And those are the principal keys that we need to remove. Right? So now that they are marked, we know to see from the bottom is the second one in here. So it's this one in here, mark the center. You're gonna remove the third one, the space, which is right in here. Mark it. W, which is right in here. So first one is a Q and then W. It's this one in here. I know this one is right beside the screw, so the screw is right in here. So I know it's in there. And this one, and that one. Those are the ASD. So we got ASD, and we got Control, Alt, Space, and Shift. We need to remove the Shift too. So there, here we have few right now. So we're gonna remove these keys right now. One thing you need to know about the keys are simple. The keys are also soldered, and also they have a little tiny triggers on the side that they once they go in them, I don't know if you guys can see it. There's a little latches in here on the side of the clips that will latch to the key to the board. So once we desolder, we still have to push the sides to pull them back up. So we're gonna flip it over, and this cable is really thick. And let's get into it. So I'm gonna go over the stuff that I'm gonna be using. First, I'm gonna bring my soldering mat, put it right underneath. You will need a solder station. I would recommend you guys to grab the TS100 or TS101. These are really cheap, depending, but it is really useful to having around the house. With any tip that you have, I have a flat tip. With any pointy tip will do the job too. Grab this one. And you want to have a flux. Any sort of soldering flux, doesn't have to be Amtech or doesn't have to be a specific one. Any regular little bit of the solder flux, you'll need that one. I'll bring my solder. I have my whole soldering stuff in here. So you need a solder cable, not the best. And I have a big roll. You don't need a big roll. And a wick to remove the old solder from the board. You need a desoldering wick. That's really cheap. I have a little brush to grab the solder from there and apply it. You need a curved or straight tweezer. I have a scissor. You need a scissor to cut this wick. As you start desoldering, it gets lots of solder attached to it, so you need to cut it to have a clean point. And I have my solder stand right in here. So there we go. You need to connect it to a 12 volt. I have a can you do a USB-C or 12 volt in here? I have a 12 volt. And also, it's really good and helpful to grab yourself a low melting soldering uh, paste. But this is not necessary. But if you want to, you can use it. I highly recommend it. It makes the job much easier. I have a little ceramic container to put under my solder so it drips on top. Use our new toothbrush to clean the area. Kitchen appliance store, you can buy this kitchen sink wire. This is a copper. You can get any other one to clean the tip of the solder to iron, solder iron. And 99% or 98% isopropylic or isopropylic alcohol. And with all this, we're going to get it started. A workshop towel, it's good to have one sheet of the workshop towel. I highly recommend you guys grab one sheet of the workshop towel. So I have one old one used a little bit in here. So this cable is going to bother me, but let's see if we can make it work. So what we're going to do first, we're going to put lots of flux on our pins on the keys that we're going to be removing. So it's going to be this key right in here, a space key, and the one that we already marked. All right, let me double check, make sure I'm doing the correct keys. So that's this one, this one. All right, so let's do it, whatever. If you pull one more teeth out that is not, you can replace it. All right, now we have turned on the solder. What are we gonna do? I'm gonna grab I'll put a little bit of the low melting solder paste in here. So we're gonna clean up the tip a little bit. You're gonna grab a little low salting paste. Melting paste is 130 Celsius. And we're gonna apply to the legs of the ones that we wanna remove. Hold it up for a few seconds. And that's it. You wanna melt this new solder, which is a low melting point, to the legs of the old paste. Hold it there for 1 or 2 or 3 seconds, right on it. So it mixes with the old paste. Yeah, I guess I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, this one up here, that's the W. That's the important one. That's the most pressed, I guess, in any game. Now that we got that, we're gonna clean up the tip. We are gonna grab our soldering wick. We're gonna open up a little bit. I like to squeeze them like this, a little push them so it gets a little more flat. They're more wavy, expandable, it's better. So like that. All right. Now I'm gonna dip it in the flux and put flux on both sides. Lots of flux on both sides of this. Right. So what you want to do in here, you want to put this wick right over the connector beside the legs right in here with the solder, and you want to push it down with the solder and hold it there for a few seconds, and you're going to see that it's going to absorb the old solder to it. And that's what you want to do. You want to do that until the old solder is all absorbed and there's no more solder left on the pen. There you go. One is done. We're gonna do this to all of them. So once I do it, I see like there's a lot of solder in here. I'm just gonna cut a little bit the portion that is already has lots of solder to it. Again, we're gonna dip it into the flux. The flux will remove the oxygen from around the solder, so it makes it easy to get attached to the copper. That's why we're using flux, and it brings down the melting point down a little bit faster. All right, now that we cleaned up, we remove all the solders in there. We're gonna use an alcohol, and we are gonna spray right over. Always use a workshop towel. Don't use any towel out, otherwise you're gonna damage the components around it. We're gonna swipe over, and we are gonna remove the excess of the. You see, that's why it happens with the workshop towel. It destroys itself before it damaging the board. Just clean up the old paste. Now what we need to do is to pull the. Let me put that one in there so I don't burn myself. So what are we gonna need? We need to pull. Make sure the pins are nicely cleared out before pulling it out. So I need to pull this one out. To pull it out, I need to push this one out a little from the side. Remember those tiny triggers? I think one of the holes are not cleared out. So I'm gonna clean up the here. So I think the space bar is still not cleared all the way. Soldering iron, it keeps turning off on me, so let's do with one or two so I don't make this video really long. So the space bar, it is cleared out. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull it out. And it should come out just like this. Really easy. Once we got it out, we can see the hole, the pads, everything is fine in there. You can go ahead and clean it, but we're not gonna clean it. We're gonna remove everything, the rest. So we're gonna remove the one right beside it here. There we go. Remove that one. Should the solder, it is detached. This one is not too detached, so we're gonna move it to the center. We're gonna pull it out. I think one of the pins is not detached correctly, so we're gonna work on one of the pins a little bit. You don't want to force it. Never force them. Otherwise, you're going to damage the pads. We touched that one. Double check, make sure the pads are okay. And we need to go to the one beside it. So we're gonna put flux on this one. And we're gonna desolder that one. I'm gonna use 2 tweezers to pull them out. So push from both sides in and try to lift them up. So I see one of the pins are, yeah, one of the pins is not loosened up yet. So always do not force excessive force and stuff like that. Take your time always doing this. It doesn't always work at the first. You might want to take your time always, 5 to 10 minutes. There we go. You see this one didn't come out, the pin stayed in there. I forced it too much. If that happens, don't panic. Nothing's gonna happen. All you need to do is to straighten up your tweezers if you bend it, like mine. What do you want to do? You want to add a little bit of the flux, and low melting solder right on the pin. And you can pull the leg out. And what you want to do, you want to just heat it up. There we go. All done. The hole is open. You can pull this. While I'm going to heat it up, I'm going to pull this tiny leg that is in there. There we go. So there is that leg that we broke from the other switch that we were going to replace. So it's good that all this happened so you guys can see and learn. Okay, this one looks pretty good. So we're just going to pop this one out. It came out pretty easy, look. It just comes out like a butter. And we need to remove this switch at the bottom. See if it's working well. Again, I think one of the legs in here is not budging, so add flux. And pull it out. And one last one, it's this one right in here. Let's hope to God that this one comes out. But as always, only one side is really unclogged. I don't know why, but only one side is coming out. So I'm gonna add a flux again. Clean up the tip. Grab a low salting milk and add to it. Now is the other leg that is not budging. It should come out. Definitely has to come out. And there we go. Oops. That one just went flying. All right, now that we removed all of them, so we're gonna prepare, and the next step is gonna be really quick. All right, so I let it cool down my camera. My camera was boiling. All right, so what we're gonna do now here, apply lots of alcohol on the areas that we soldered, and we're gonna use a toothbrush to just clean it up and remove the old flux from there. You don't have to be going crazy cleaning it up, just as long as you clean fairly good. That's it. I just don't like it to be dirty. All right, once it's cleaned up, you need your new switches. These are the new switches. You want to put your new switches right in there. So make sure it only goes in one way, so don't worry about which orientation. Plug in your new switches. And there we go. Once we have the switches in there, now this part is really easy. So what do you want to do? Again, plugs on the legs that you're going to solder. That one over there. All right, I guess I'm not missing any. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, I guess 8 somewhere over there. All right. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna grab a regular solder, and we're gonna grab a little bit of solder on the tip of the solder iron, and we are gonna hold it for 1 second. Don't hold it for too long. 1 second. 1, 2, and that's it. Just to count 1, 2, and let it go. 1, 2, let go. 1, 2, let go. If you hold it too long in there, you're gonna damage the internal of the switch internals. I think I got all of them, so let me check. I got that 1, 2, 3, AWS, Shift, Alt, Enter, and this one over here. It's all done. All right, now we can clean up the solder tip and turn it off. One last cleaning before we just put everything back together. Just spray, toothbrush, clean. And you can just do last cleaning so you absorb it to the towel. Be gentle with it and clean up the keyboard. So there we go, nicely replaced. You don't even see the differences. Now we're gonna clean up the work area, push everything away. What you're gonna do here is to grab the top cover or the bottom cover in this case, I'm facing it up. Bring it down gently, make sure the cable hole goes, everything goes in there. And push it down, and to finish it off, put it in a position that you need, and start putting the screws that you removed in on the cover. So I'm going to start from one corner and start putting up all the screws that we removed. Don't go crazy tightening up too much, just reach it, and that's it. When you feel like it's already there, that's it. You don't need to go crazy, otherwise you're going to damage the threads on the screws. All right, and one last thing is, don't forget to put this cover on. Just push it down and start putting up the keys that you remove based on your reference that you removed straight right over. Like this one goes straight in. Just don't force it, align it, and just push it down, and it stays in place. Again, I hope you guys like this video and helped you guys out. If you have any question or request, feel free to leave them in a video comment. I'll try to answer them. You can support the channel by clicking the like and subscribe. I'll greatly appreciate it. It helps and motivates me to make more videos, take requests, and answer your questions in the comment area. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. I'm just going to finish up putting up these keycaps.